Before we jump into this episode, I want to remind you that while Caitlin and Sophia are dietitians, we're not your dietitians. This means the information shared in the Food Freedom Fertility podcast is intended to entertain, educate, and inform. It is not a substitute for medical care. This information is not intended to diagnose, manage, or treat disease. Always consult with your doctor before making any changes. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Food Freedom Fertility podcast. I am your co-host, Sophia Pavia, registered dietitian nutritionist specializing in women's fertility. And I am here joined by my bestest friend and a fellow fertility specialist dietitian, Caitlin Johnson, specializing in PCOS. And we are burning the midnight oil tonight. This is a late record for her and I, well, especially for her because she's on Central Time and I'm on the West Coast, but we are recording in the night. It's going to be Halloween. It's a spooky session.
Ooh, we should have done something like that. Yeah, well, this is spooky. Like, why is my period all messed up? Why can't I get
pregnant? Why does it all look supposedly normal to the lay eye? Yet here I am, cycle after cycle, not pregnant, and I'm kind of coming up with no answers. This is a common reason for unexplained infertility, but we're going to venture today that there is perhaps an explanation. So if you read the title of this episode, which I'm guessing you did because you clicked on it to play it, what we're talking about today is something that we're calling non-typical HA, which stands for hypothalamic amenorrhea, and we will be calling it HA for the rest of this episode.
Or ha. Ha ha ha. It's not funny. Or alternative name, when it's not about weight. Hypothalamic amenorrhea. Like,
yes,
we often talk about
oh my gosh,
hypothalamic amenorrhea when it's, so-and-so so skinny, or her body
105-pound ballerina.
Yeah, like, or it's this gal that struggled with eating disorders and is just in recovery and doesn't have her cycle back, and we call it either the female athlete triad or hypothalamic amenorrhea is kind of what it's getting termed in more recent years, because what we're realizing is that it's not just about being an athlete, but there's kind of a disconnect in levels of nourishment for energy output or high levels of stress.
That's a huge one.
That are overriding some of the hormone system. So, like, when you think about typical HA, if we're going to have an episode about non-typical, like, let's kind of talk about what we think is typical first, so people know, we're not talking about that.
Typical HA. So when someone gets diagnosed with hypothalamic amenorrhea, usually what we're seeing is someone who is not ovulating. They're not ovulating, they're not menstruating, either through a time of extreme stress, like you have had a major life change, a death in the family, a divorce, a natural disaster blew your home away, like, these huge life-altering events where the stress is astronomical and you lose your period. Or what Caitlin was describing, a gal who is severely underweight, or maybe let's just say underweight, maybe not even severely, but you're underweight. You've kind of always struggled to have an appetite. Perhaps, you look at what's on other people's plates and you just go, I could never. Or you hear Caitlin and I talking about our like 4-egg breakfast in the morning and you're like, how? That could possibly be you. We see this in people with extreme food aversions, extreme picky eating. There's like 4 foods you're willing to eat or you can tolerate without gagging and barfing. And so you're just undernourished. But really, when we say typical HA, it's a gal that's like an endurance athlete or maybe a figure athlete. She's doing like bodybuilding competitions or fitness competitions. She's riding her bike 60 to 80 miles a day. She's running. she's swimming, she's doing tons of CrossFit, she's competing at a high level, perhaps. And she is a lean, mean machine. She has got very little body fat. She's got well defined muscles. And people may be even praising her for how great she looks
Often
all
probably
the
are.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what we have there is just kind of a disconnect in values and goals that are
Hmm.
related to athleticism that are not aligned with what just makes your most fertile body. And so that's kind of like an athletic side of it. If you aren't that extreme athlete with low body fat but high muscle mass and kind of competing at that high level, you might be the other end of the spectrum where you're not doing a whole lot and you don't have a lot of energy, but it's because you're eating like 300 calories a day and you're so severely undernourished that your body has thus seen another disconnect in fertility and procreation that
Hmm.
doesn't work with the level of energy input that your body has. And so I think those are kind of the more typical ideas of what we think of HA
Hmm.
as like extreme exercise or extreme undernourishment. This
Hmm.
idea of stress or maybe even undernourishment, but not at like this too kind of diverse physique types, undernourished and a wisp of a human and rail thin, or an extreme athlete that is solid but has no fat. There is an in between that has HA too. And that's kind of the person that gets lost in the conversation.
Hmm. Especially if this gal is in a normal to heavy sized body. And this is something, Caitlin, you have brought up with PCOS quite a bit, just to sort of prime you on what it is I'm exactly asking you so you know how to answer this question. Um, is that gals will get diagnosed with PCOS and they'll be like, okay, I need to cut the carbs, I need to increase my steps, I need to hit the weights, and they take it to an unhealthy place while desperately trying to be healthy. I mean, they're following whatever guidelines someone told them when it came to their fertility, in their metabolic health with PCOS, but they're just going so hard at it that they're coming to a place where now there's not enough calories, there's too much exercise, there's too much stress. And even though she might be in a bigger body, she can still have hypothalamic amenorrhea.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a piece of PCOS where you have the typical kind of look of PCOS, right? You've got maybe a
Mhm.
little extra weight around your midsection. You definitely check a box for diagnostic criteria where you have irregular cycles. And oftentimes we're looking for then can you check this other box? We wonder if you have polycystic ovaries. We wonder if you have high androgens, but we look and maybe there aren't polycystic ovaries. And we look at your androgens and we don't see high testosterone, but we maybe see borderline, like you kind of fit the picture. And so
Mhm.
all of a sudden you're handed a workup and interventions that look like PCOS. So maybe you're handed metformin, you're told to go on a 1,200 calorie diet and to exercise and come back in 3 or 6 months. And let's see if you've lost 5 to 10% of your body weight. That's like really typical if you go see an OBGYN, they
Mhm.
suspect PCOS, they think it's there, you pretty much fit the diagnostic criteria. Maybe you even do completely fit it. And you get handed this kind of plan, and out the door you go. And a lot of women with PCOS have chronically dieted up to this point. So they've already kind of weight cycled up and down, up and down, up and down. And in doing that, they kind of come into this scenario already with a metabolism that's hurting.
Mhm.
And so then they go on an extremely calorically restricted diet and they're trying to do 30 to 60 minutes of cardio every day. And so really when you look at their caloric burn and their caloric intake, there's a huge mismatch, which is how for a while they're losing some weight. But
Mhm.
eventually their body is kind of saying, hold on, we can't exist on like 300 calories a day anymore because you're so under eating and you're burning so much energy. We've like pulled from the fat stores we're comfortable pulling from. And probably that person is like coming down to a weight they might have been at before. And it's like a really comfortable set point in their body. And they have now limited their metabolism and they're stuck. So what do? They
Further
restrict
reduced
more
calories, yeah.
or they exercise more. And it becomes this like incredibly vicious thing. They're also, by the way, probably bloated and not digesting well. They're um, very tired, fatigued, probably super cranky. Somewhere in that, they may have seen a little bit of their cycle turn back on. But that didn't last, or it turned into chronic bleeding because their body has no idea what the F is going on. And
Mhm.
so now we kind of have a situation where whether it was for sure PCOS or maybe chronic dieting and like a little bit of an HA, but it looked enough like PCOS, we called it PCOS. And so we treated you like PCOS, which isn't how I would just treat your PCOS anyway, but that's beside the point. You've kind of been handed a hand that is it just doesn't stand at the table. You're never going to compete with how your body is designed to feel safe enough to get pregnant. And so essentially you've gone from maybe a inefficient and already suffering metabolism to like as low a basal metabolism as we can get you and continue functioning. And now you've kind of shifted into hypothalamic amenorrhea where your body is
Mhm.
literally saying, I don't have enough. And so I'm not going to ovulate. But
Mhm.
you may still think it's PCOS because there wasn't enough of a regularity in that weight coming off. And you still haven't reached a goal maybe of what the doctor said they wanted you to get to, even though you lost a good 20 pounds, which, may have been 5% of your body weight or 7% of your body weight. And it's a good amount, but maybe not even what you wished you were because it's not how you ended high school or whatever. But strictly from a energy and metabolic perspective, we've so told your body there's not enough to go around. There's certainly not enough to go around if we're growing an entire human inside of you. We are taking a break from the episode, and I want to chat with you a little bit about Fertility Cloud. If you've been told you need help ovulating, or you have PCOS and you're trying to figure out your next fertility step, I want to tell you about Fertility Cloud. They make fertility care simple, transparent, and affordable, especially when it comes to ovulation stimulation and ovulation induction treatments. Instead of waiting for months to see a fertility specialist or getting hit with surprise bills, Fertility Cloud lists every price clearly right on their website. You'll see exactly what you're getting into and exactly what it costs. No hidden clinic fees, no surprise invoices later. For my PCOS clients, this is huge. Their ovulation stimulation program can help jumpstart ovulation safely at home with physician guidance and medications delivered directly to you. You can do it all virtually, no driving to clinics or sitting in waiting rooms, and you can often even get appointments same day. If you're wondering, how do we do ultrasounds or what about lab draws? Don't worry, their concierge service helps determine where you can do that locally to you and coordinates with you on your behalf. It's just amazing. And here's the best part, if you're ready to take that next step, you can click the link in our show notes and get $50 off your first appointment. That means you get right in front of a fertility specialist for $115. That first visits gets you matched with a fertility doctor who actually understands your needs, and you'll walk away with a clear plan for your next cycle. So head to the link in our show notes, book your appointment, save $50 on your first Fertility Cloud visit. because fertility care should be transparent, affordable, and built for you.
Yes, yes, and I wanna just add one more thing to that because I see this as well, is the gal that it's so similar to this, but she did have classic PCOS, like, everything very clearly diagnosed, had the cystic ovaries, had the high androgens, 100 pounds overweight, losing her hair, like, so typical PCOS, really irregular cycles, all these things, and just hits the bandwagon so hard, kind of like what you said,
Mhm.
and now here she is just doing she did
She
all the
is.
things. She cut all the carbs. She's hitting the weights. She's hitting the Stairmaster. She's taking the herbs. She's taking the supplements. She's doing all these things. And we were solidly diagnosed with PCOS. So now she's ovulating, but we're seeing like low basal body temps, and we're seeing a short luteal phase, and we're seeing very or now she's like we've gone further than that, and now she's not ovulating again, and she's like what the hell,
Mhm.
like you said, double down, and we're
Go
making a
harder.
problem, yeah, we're making a problem
Mhm.
worse. But this gal was 100 pounds overweight, and so she's lost 40. This is great, but she lost it by going scorched earth on her body.
Mhm.
And now she's still technically 60 pounds overweight. Who in their right mind would diagnose this person with hypothalamic amenorrhea?
Mhm.
But when we look at what she's actually eating and doing, it can become clear.
And let's be real, most doctors aren't looking for HA. It's
No, they're
not
especially if
even.
you're not like you came in for stress fractures in your feet because of your ballet dancing. In that situation, maybe they would, but
Yeah, but they're not. And it's like, is it PCOS? Is it endo? Have we done all the things? And then it's like, okay, well, let's just move on to IVF because it's not working instead of saying, why isn't it working? I have this like one very clear person in my mind that she was all of those things. She always was
mhm.
a little bit heavier. She did feel like she had hirsutism, but she also had like this very like
Hirsutism, guys, is the like
the
hair growth on
facial
your
hair,
yeah.
body hair, more male patterned. She was like Iranian and Italian. She just like had dark coarse
Don't
hair.
I hear that?
Right.
Heyo.
Right. So it was like, okay, well, was it she always had to work really hard. She was a 3-sport athlete. She was all these
Mhm.
things
Mhm.
and went to college and became a physical therapist and really was, she's a doctorate of physical therapy. She moved her body and
Amen.
her doctors looked at her and all the classic things and not ovulating and had this hirsutism. And I honestly can't remember if she had polycystic ovaries, but they were treating her for years and she wasn't getting pregnant. And she came and saw me and we looked at it all and we looked at it all and we looked at it all. And then we talked about her diet and it was like, well, I mean, 1,500 calories a day. You're like up in a gym moving all day long, helping people exercise and rehabilitate. But you also really like to do CrossFit. And the more we looked at it, I was like, honey, I don't think it's PCOS. I think you were treated for PCOS. I think they suspected it was well managed PCOS.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
really, you have a normal size body that's very active, but nobody asked you questions about your diet. And when we've done all the herbs and supplements for PCOS, which she had done prior to me, it didn't impact her cycle at all. And it didn't impact her hirsutism. And I was like, well, let's just play a game of is it genetics and is it HA? And I put her on a 3,500 calorie diet. We like increased her
Kaboom!
calories
All right.
2,000 calories. And she was like hardcore. She's like, I'm in, let's do it. And
Bring on the peanut butter.
6 weeks later, she was pregnant.
Yes.
It was a total
I
HA
bet
case
that
that
baby's gonna have a
just
beautiful head of hair.
she's had 2 actually since then because when she was ready to get pregnant again, she was
Did.
eating better. I mean, it was just
Yeah.
like so
Yeah. Dang, 3,500, Caitlin, that is I sometimes think I'm just too conservative a practitioner, honestly. because I don't tell people that, even though sometimes I think that they should, because they're honestly like, I just need to get a thicker skin.
Well,
So they'll be
how
like, I
badly do you wanna
guess.
have a baby? I was convinced it was HA. I was like, I mean, we could slow roll this. We go up to 2,000 and then 2,500, but I was like, if you
That's
wanna
what
be
I
pregnant
do. I slow
yesterday,
roll it.
well, I think there's a case for that if there's some mental health stuff you gotta work through. But, then there's other practitioners, even ones we've interviewed on this pod, where, it's like 3,500 calories at all costs and, like, drink the milkshake and just get the calories in. And it's hard to get 3,500 calories from just, like, healthy food. But we don't just get 3,500 calories either because we're
Mhm.
also gonna try and grow a baby.
Yeah.
So, it's an interesting case because 'cause I've seen it both ways where I'm like, "You for sure had PCOS. You dialed it in so hard, you went the other way."
Yes.
And I've seen that with a couple GLP-1 patients where it wasn't so hard of dieting, but it's just been incredibly well, it's been, I'm on too high of a dose of GLP-1, I'm not eating at all, and I went from cycling to now I'm not cycling again, and it's like, well, you gotta get off that if we wanna get you cycling
Or
again.
get on a more appropriate dose. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, okay, so let me talk about what it looks like on my end a lot of
Yeah.
times with ladies,
Yeah, yeah,
okay?
yeah.
So I'm working, of course, I'm not gonna turn you out on your ear if you have PCOS. Probably send you to Caitlin. But if you wanna work with me and you have PCOS, girl, I'm happy to hold your hand through it. But more than anything, I work with luteal phase defect, which is essentially all of these things that we're talking about. So the profile that I am looking at, and I've had 2 gals this week that have this exact scenario, both of them in totally normal size bodies. One of them arguably maybe even on the thicker side. She both of these gals, when I look at their blood work and I look at their chart, that is where the first clues come in for me. Because I will ask people what they're eating, but a tally on the chart of Dr. Gary, he said a few times in here, like, well, if this is what someone actually is doing, then we can, think it's this thing or that thing. I don't ever think someone's being dishonest with me. I just am not expecting that people are like busting out the measuring spoons and like they're weighing their food. I just think a lot of times people just are not, estimating portions extremely accurately. I know I don't. I even had to do like a research study in college on how people estimate their portions, and it's like always wrong. So I don't always go off of like, what are you eating? Let's do a calorie count from the jump, like in my first appointment with people. But I
Never.
will want to look at your chart and I want to look at your labs. And
Mhm.
so this is what it looks like in my practice. Okay. We are seeing usually a slowish vitamin D in spite of good supplementation. We are seeing perhaps normal hematocrit, normal hemoglobin, low ferritin.
Mhm.
We're seeing the iron stores are low. This gal isn't being diagnosed with anemia because she's technically not anemic, but we're seeing the iron stores are low. We're
Mhm.
seeing a high LH to FSH ratio. That ovary is working to get that follicle out each cycle. We're not seeing it very, very
It's not the
level.
opposite where it's, like,
No,
higher
high
FSH?
FSH. No, not usually. Not
Okay,
usually. I
interesting.
really only see the high sometimes, okay, sometimes I will see a high FSH. Generally, it's not that though. Like, I think what happens is over time it becomes that. I think like the LH when your body is pulling that lever again and again and receiving no baby, then the FSH sort of starts to climb. So I think maybe like more long term we would see that. So I
Mhm.
do see that sometimes, but usually it's a high FSH to LH. But yes, you're not wrong, Caitlin. Sometimes it is the high FSH too. Um, and just generally sort of a depleted, just not when we look at their cycle, looking at their temps are kind of low. They are slow to rise after ovulation. They never really get all that high, and then they're quick to fall post ovulation. We see progesterone and just sort of eking by. We certainly, you are ovulating, girlfriend. It's happening, but not very robustly. And generally speaking, we're seeing just an overall, this is another point that I see, a low A1C. I see this sometimes, an A1C in the fours.
Mhm. Mhm.
But then we'll do like a fasting insulin, fasting glucose. This girl actually has a relatively high HOMA-IR.
Hmm.
She is making quite a bit of insulin. And I think in a body's desperate attempt to store anything it can, I guess would be my guess on that. But generally, she's really like reacting and having, so she'll like eat carbs, body dumps insulin, blood sugar tanks. So we're seeing lows, 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 lows all day long. We're not seeing high blood sugar like ever. She gets her fasting glucose done, it's like 73, but
Mhm.
her insulin was like 14 to get there. And so just not like horrible pre-diabetes or something, but just we're seeing a wonky insulin to glucose ratio that would result in that low A1C. So this is like the typical blood markers that I see. It doesn't always look exactly like this, but usually this is what I'm seeing like in somebody's blood tests. And yeah, just everything. Maybe it's not. And oh, the other piece, thyroid.
Mhm.
I see a slow thyroid. I don't see a lot of thyroid antibodies. The immune system doesn't seem to be causing the problem, though sometimes that could be it. But just sort of a mysterious slow thyroid. It's not bad. We're not looking at a TSH of 25. We're looking
Mhm.
at a TSH of like 3,
Mhm.
2.5. Just more than what we would want to see for somebody trying to conceive. The thyroid is just limping along.
Mhm.
And that is like the typical biomarkers that I see with these gals. Now, when I look at their lives, we see high productivity. We see other dietitians that have this going on, nurses, doctors. We see lawyers. We see people that are working in medical devices, that are in high pressure sales positions, and they're freaking crushing it. These girls are stars. They are the highest productivity person at their pay grade.
Mhm.
Um, and then, or we see they're caring for a aging ill parent. They are, or a disabled sibling. They are managing it all, doing it all. Plus, they're working out. Plus, they're in a book club. Plus, they're, in the choir at their church and serving on a ministry board. These gals make their calendars work. And there's a stress piece going on. Often, what I see is gals that are like, I'm fine. Everything's fine. I'm not stressed, as like the world burns around them. They just are
Mhm.
so high functioning that they just make it happen at all costs. I mean, this is the gal that you would want on your team. This is the one that, like, zombie apocalypse, you want her. But this isn't the one that's like cranking out the babies, because generally speaking,
Because
her
zombie
body isn't
apocalypse, her she's doing all the other shit.
right.
She's,
Her
like,
her life is
holding it down.
for sure. For sure. She's holding it down in so many ways. And I even see this in gals that you maybe wouldn't even think, like, is it that high stress of a job? Well, it is to her, okay? She really works hard at this, and she takes criticism very harshly. And
Mhm.
when she makes mistakes, she relives them all night long. And she is just generally really hard on herself as well. And when she fills out my symptom or my little questionnaire, how motivated are you? She's an 11 out of 10. She's like,
Mhm.
anything for this baby. Let's freaking go. So, if this is sounding really familiar to you, hi, keep listening because we're about to talk about solutions.
Yeah. And so I guess one question I would have listening to this, if I were a patient or just the lay audience, is this hypothalamic amenorrhea, or is this a luteal phase defect and I'm on the road to hypothalamic amenorrhea? Like, is there a distinguishing?
There's a distinguishing. It's the amenorrhea. That you said it right there in the title. Someone who's not having their period anymore, that is amenorrhea. But
Mhm,
what I see is sometimes these gals are having periods, but that's a great point. Their periods are light. They are like 1 day, 2 days, three max.
mhm,
Um, a tampon or two, and then just a panty liner. Maybe they're coming like clockwork and they are seeing a temp rise. They are technically ovulating, but we're looking at a lining that is thin.
mhm,
And we are looking at a body that is like really trying not to let anything go. Like, don't lose too much blood. There's not enough here.
mhm,
And yeah, that's sort of what maybe they're not amenorrheic yet, but if they
mhm.
stayed, and maybe they wouldn't even become amenorrheic, like maybe they're gonna still have enough fat and such to like keep a period, but the period they're having is weak.
Yeah, it's
They're
almost like
just,
a metabolic, like not a metabolic root, but a lifestyle root that's impacting hypothalamic function. And so it's
hmm
like, and that's it, right? We've got a hypothalamus and it's a hypohypothalamus. It's like under doing the job
yeah.
because it's while it's like getting the job done, you can actually check the box. You're ovulating and some bleed is happening. You're not pregnant. And ovulating and some bleed is happening is actually not matching the effort of this 11 out of 10 motivated individual who's killing it in every area of their life. It's like the resources and the stress and the maybe cortisol dysfunction and the DHEA dysfunction then and the other stress hormones are impacting what the hypothalamus does with inhibiting gonadotropin release that's making really strong productive eggs and shunting resources to that. Instead, it's actually shunting them away.
hmm Yeah, because your body thinks you're going to die if you get pregnant. That is
Mhm.
honestly what's going on. Or she hasn't quite gotten there yet and she's really freaking working for you. She's trying really hard to keep you alive and make a baby.
We're going to take a break from this episode to hear about one of our sponsors. You've probably heard me say this before, but preparing your body for pregnancy is not just about you, it's about both of you. Fertility is truly a team effort, and that's why I love the Fullwell Fertility Trio for Two. Fullwell was founded by a fellow registered dietitian and fertility expert, Ayla Barmer, and this bundle was designed to support both partners in the months leading up to conception. It combines their top rated prenatal vitamin, omega 3 fish oil, and a fertility booster supplement that covers things like CoQ10, N acetylcysteine, alpha lipoic acid, and organic ashwagandha root extract. The nutrients here support overall egg quality, sperm health, fertility, and even your stress resilience. If your partner's semen analysis looks normal, or if it's suboptimal and we need to improve things, nutrition plays a key role for things like sperm motility, count, and DNA quality. For women, these same nutrients help with ovulation, egg development, and healthy hormone balance, not to mention mitochondrial support, which is a huge piece of how your gametes mature and get ready to be that queen egg or that king sperm that make it to combining to form an embryo. These things are foundational for a strong, healthy pregnancy. I personally love that Fullwell's formulas are third party tested, they're evidence based, and made with doses that actually match what the research shows we need. No fluff, no underdosing. So, if you're planning to start trying this winter, or sometime in 2026, or you've been trying to conceive for a while, it's time to think about starting to nourish your bodies for what's ahead, or take a step up from your current protocol to one that is high quality. Head to fullwellfertility.com and use the code FFF20 for 20% off your order. That's FFF20 at checkout. I'll drop the link in the show notes for this specific fertility trio bundle and for Fullwell, along with this code FFF20. Give yourself and your future family the best foundation with Fullwell's fertility trio for two.
And that's what we see when LH or FSH start to soar, is that your body actually, she is working really hard. Don't think that she's sleeping on the job and that, your brain is the only one that wants a baby and your body just doesn't give enough. Like, that's not it at all. Your body's working really, really hard. She just doesn't have the resources.
Mm-hmm.
You're asking too much of a system designed to be doing much less. And this might sting, gals, but some of us are just not meant to be about that life. And as much as we are capable of it, like I say this to Caitlin all the time, Caitlin is one of the most capable people I've ever met and extremely hardworking. Like, she's the vanilla ice. If you got a problem, I'll solve it. she will she will be like, okay, well, like, we'll put it in chat GPT. What does it say? Okay, well, then we can just do this and that, and there's a program here that can do that for you, and we can upload it for $5, and then here you go, it's done. Like, she's so good at all the things, figuring out all the things, getting them all done on time, and then takes like extreme pride in her work to where like she's really not willing to screw someone over because she was sleeping on the job. Like, she's going to make it happen. And um I guess I've lost my point in just praising you, Caitlin. Where was I going?
No, but keep going.
Keep going. No,
Just
she's
because you can
so
doesn't mean you
just
should, I
because
think is the
exactly.
point. Yeah.
And some gals, it takes some major lifestyle changes to be able to get pregnant and stay pregnant, to ovulate a healthy, mature, robust egg that is ready to go all the way to the finish line as a healthy baby, for a uterine lining that is ready to receive and ready to grow and is not inflamed or infected because your immune system has been driven into the dirt by this constant high cortisol life. Um, this sometimes it takes some major and extreme lifestyle changes. Caitlin mentioned one of them, upping your calories by almost double. This gal went hard in the paint and she was eating a lot
Those are
all the
basketball
time.
references.
They are. That is a basketball reference.
I didn't know that for a really long time. I was like, what do they keep saying? Go hard in the paint. And finally, BJ explained it
That
to me.
surprises me. You watch more sports than any girl I know, but I guess
I
just not
hate
basketball.
basketball though, but he's like, he explained it to me, and then I was like, this is such a great saying. I'm just going to randomly throw it in to dudes every once in a while, and I'm going to sound like I really know what I'm talking about.
There we go.
Go hard in the paint.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So increasing calories. What else? What is this girl
Oh,
who's
you're not
got
going to like it, but I'm going to tell you. It's significantly increasing your rest. So this means like taking more rest days in the gym or taking longer rests between sets. So this is like doing your heavy squats and waiting a full 5 minutes before your next set. 5 minutes. Okay, that's 2 tracks from Life of a Showgirl. That's a long time to be standing around, sipping of water. Like, that's what it takes. This is letting your heart rate fully recover before your next interval. This is going to bed way earlier and sleeping in way later. This is saying no to everyone and everything. This is doing things that actually reduce your stress. You might think scrolling on your phone reduces your stress, but when you see the like third protester getting water ballooned or whatever, it's not actually reducing your stress. Calling up your friend and playing cards with her and laughing, that is going to reduce your stress. Even though it's more effort to coordinate with her and get together and sit down and play cards, you are going to have a better stress profile after your card game, going for a hike, um, doing something about that eye twitch that you keep having, going to the doctor and getting the right prescription and wearing it, and all these things. Like, this is actually taking care of yourself, not just like turning on another Netflix. Seeing a therapist, taking time to actually dig to the root of what is causing so much conflict in your marriage and addressing it. The thing that you guys don't want to talk about and you just don't bring it up, but it's his golfing and it's bothering you and it's causing so much friction or whatever. I don't know. I don't mean to attack golf, Caitlin. I know you love golf.
I love golf, but it's definitely his. I mean, it's his something.
For sure. Listen, no woman that has ever listened to this podcast has or will do anything wrong. Okay.
I will say this. That is not fun or easy to hear. This listener is wishing you would say, just go buy that magic supplement, or just go, don't actually stop working out or decrease your workouts. Just go row instead of heavy weight lift. They're like looking for that magic thing they haven't done
Yeah, that's
yet.
so me.
They
Taking
don't
away
want
my
to
workouts. I
hear,
can't. I couldn't do it. It's
I
hard.
know, but
Or
you
no,
act.
don't accept that. Don't put in for that promotion. No. It requires 60 hours a week and it's not for you. It'd be really nice to have an extra 40 grand a year. It sure would. But that's not for you. That's for somebody else. Not for you. And as painful as that may be, because you worked really hard for your career, and you know what? You probably do deserve that promotion. But it's going to put you in a position that's not going to help your fertility, your longevity, your life in general. Um, and it's maybe even quitting. But taking a good hard look at your finances and saying, how much money do we actually need in order to live a life that we want to live? Like, let's take a real look at this. Like, we're making $120,000 a year, good for us. But we could sit at about 85 G's and be doing pretty much all the same things that we value. We'd have to stop doing some of the things that we don't really value but are just convenient. Um, and then being like, okay, well, I'm going to take a part time job at the private pharmacy because my full time job at CVS is killing me.
Mhm.
And
Oh
I'm
man,
going
they
to,
work that specific pharmacy people into the dirt, 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 dirt,
yeah,
dirt, dirt, so bad.
so bad, so bad.
Or as the high performing pharmacist at a hospital. I mean, and it may be leaving your career field for a while. But you know what I'm gonna say, which is also really uncomfortable to this person? A lot of these moms get pregnant and have their first baby and don't want to go back anyway. They
Yeah.
don't, or they go
Because
back to
really, what
something
is
more
your
part-time.
plan? 6 weeks shoving that baby in daycare for those 60 hours a week that you just signed up for? Is that the dream? Like, not, probably not.
Even this is uncomfortable to hear because this person is thinking, if Sophia and Caitlin's plan doesn't work out, how am I going to afford IVF? Like, it's like, how do I do that? But the
Or worse
honest,
yet, what if I do
and
everything
it
you
doesn't
say
work.
and it doesn't work? And now I don't have my career. I don't have my promotion. I don't have a baby. What is my life? And I'm telling, it's a risk. I'm not saying that this is going to cure you and you're going to have a baby in 6 weeks, like the lady we just talked about. Well, she didn't have a baby in 6 weeks, but she had a
No, she
pregnancy
was
in 6 weeks.
pregnant. Yeah. But could you start taking some of those baby steps and increasing your calories and taking a look at the stress factors and start saying no to a lot of things? I mean, I just talked to a client this week, not this specific problem, but it's like, where's the room in your life to meal prep or do this or do that? And it's like, well, we do a lot of small group church stuff, this and that. And she was awesome. And I just had a really honest conversation. I was like, there are kind of three currencies here: time, nutrition, and money. If you want it to not take any time, then you're going to compromise either on the nutrition or how much it costs.
Yeah.
We can't like be magicians here. Sophia and I can't like just say like, here,
I tell
give
people
me
that
a
every
dollar.
day. I'm not a genie.
Give me a dollar and I'll get you your food all from Whole Foods. It'll be perfectly macro balanced and cure you, and you won't have to do anything but throw it in your oven. Like that's just, I mean, you could hire a personal chef, but that costs money, right? Like there's
Mhm.
lots of, but so we have to negotiate these things. It's not just take this magic supplement, do this exercise, eat this magic fruit, and you're going to fix all these hormone problems.
Mhm.
A lot of times the answer is listening to the body that you're in that's been designed to work a certain way, that it's telling you it's not working. You're tired, your hair is falling out, your basal body temperature isn't normal, your thyroid's working too hard, you're pumping out too much LH to try and get a sort of half mature follicle to ovulate the egg inside of it. And then once it does finally, maybe it's not even optimal. Like your body is telling us in a lot of different ways, I need more and I need to do less.
Mhm. Yeah, and there's risk involved here. I say this too much, but life and death are the same, two sides of the same coin. And being open to having a new life come into your family is being inherently open to risk. And it begins, I guess, even before conception, that you're right. It might be a risk to say no to the promotion, to cut back your hours, to change, leave your job field entirely. I mean, maybe not become like unemployed, but like you could go work at your friend's dog grooming
Mhm.
studio and like wash dogs and laugh with her for 4 hours a day, have zero stress, make $15 an hour, which is enough for you to do what it is you want to do in life because your partner's doing more or whatever. I
Something,
don't
yeah.
know the
Mhm.
situation that you're in, but it might be like really cutting back on some of the things that are costing you so much financially and causing you so much financial stress, getting rid of your lease on the BMW and going and buying a 2010 Honda Civic with cash that's going to get you from point A to point B the exact same way. And you can sleep at night and you're not worried about it. And your partner's not worried about it. And he's not working 60 hours a week to try to keep you in that BMW. And just so many things that require a pretty big life change at times. So we've had gals on here that have had to we had one gal on here. Do you guys remember Sarah talking about working night shifts? She had to quit. She was working for the police force as a dispatcher, and she had to straight quit before she could get pregnant and have her baby because working overnights, taking calls, or people that just beat up their landlords or stabbed their cousin or whatever was killing her fertility. She couldn't do it.
Mhm.
And we have gals here, nurses on the night shift, people doing really important, really fulfilling work that we all depend upon to survive every day. I'm not saying this work is like stupid and you should just quit doing it because it doesn't matter. It's vital. But that's a job for somebody who already had their kids. That's
Mhm.
a job for a man who isn't trying to get pregnant. That's a job for somebody else, somebody who doesn't want to have kids. I don't know. There's lots of kinds of people in this world. Um, you need a life more conducive to rest, to joy, to stress free living, and eating enough and moving enough. That's really the point. You probably don't like it, but it's what it takes. Like I'll say for myself in particular, I had to significantly reduce the amount of training that I was doing, which meant I put on body fat and I lost muscle, which is something that I still struggle with to this day. Every time I look in the mirror, how I used to be and how it used to look and how I used to be able to perform in the gym. Like anybody cares. Okay. I'm the only one who cares. Has anyone, Caitlin, have you ever looked at my tricep and been like, wow, I wish that looked a little more defined?
No.
Never. Never has the thought entered your mind. Have you ever been like, "She looks good, but maybe if she had some abs."
No, I hear so many things you say about your own body that I'm like, I want you to stop talking about my best friend like that. She's
But it's
beautiful.
like such criticism of what used to be because I had so many body image issues for so long trying to be as skinny as possible, like that was the goal. And then I found exercise and weightlifting, and then it became as strong as possible, and that was the new thing. And I could eat more and I could do more, and being skinny, who cares? Look what I can do. And then when that went away, it was like, oh, actually, nothing was fixed. Like this was just a new medicine for the same problem.
Mhm.
And yeah, have had to make some changes in my life. And it has meant I don't look the same. And I mean, when you look at these ladies that have these chiseled abs and these defined quads, you might be looking at a very athletic body, but you're actually also looking at a diseased body. This is someone like in a bodybuilding competition, this is someone who is very unwell. This is someone who is very sick, in fact. I guarantee liver enzymes elevated. We're looking at terrible nutrient deficiencies. Like these people are sick and they look weird because of it. But some people think, okay, that looks really great. What a cool physique. But in reality, this is a diseased body. It's the same thing you're seeing when someone's winning gold at the Olympics most of the time as well.
I think there is so much around this conversation that like tears at every part of our own insecurities, these gals that maybe are incredibly high functioning and are doing everything, but still in not what they would consider their most optimal body. It's not their skinniest. Maybe it's not even their strongest. They don't even have enough time to do all the exercise.
Yeah.
But because of that, they're under eating or they start their day with coffee and have killed their hunger signals and spiked their metabolism for a little bit and they're running on cortisol and there's like a misfiring at every turn where hormones should be saying one thing, they're kind of saying the other. And so you end up with this underfueled, overstressed body that maybe feels cold all the time. You don't have a lot of libido, you have brittle nails, your hair's falling out, you have brain fog, you're sitting in the meeting, you can't think of the word. Maybe you always feel like your heart's kind of like beating a little extra fast and you're just like anxiety is like kind of that clip above what should be going on with what's going on. And you don't really have normal hunger cues. And then when you finally sit down, nothing even sounds good to eat because you've kind of turned your body into this like, I only do these things that serve me. Maybe it's not full-blown amenorrhea yet, but it's a body with signs and signals saying help. And if you're
Mhm.
hearing this and you're like, I don't want to quit my job, you guys have gone way off the rocker. What are you even talking about? I would encourage you to book an appointment and get your labs looked at and get to a second appointment with someone like Sophia where she really can dig into what are you eating? What does your lifestyle look like? Not just like what we're seeing symptomatically and seeing in your lab work and your cycles, but like what's the reasons for what we're seeing and how do we really begin to unravel this and rebuild? Fiona, my oldest, she's learning how to knit. And we've had some instances where it's like, oh, we're a couple of rows past where the mistake was. And we have to look at it and go, are we okay with the mistake in this finished product? Or do you want to do the hard work of undoing these couple rows? We'll go fix the problem and then rebuild. It's like we're undoing some things, but we still have
Mm.
we still
Some
have the
things you might
yarn
have worked
left.
so hard to do.
Totally. And you get to make that decision. And part of what Sophia and I do with our clients is we go find those holes and those gaps and we help encourage you to see it's worth laying down a better foundational framework so that when you do get pregnant, so that you could get pregnant, but so that when you do, it's a healthier pregnancy, a healthier baby, a healthier mom.
Oh my gosh, yes, yes, because that's the goal, right, girl? Like, that's what you're looking for. 2 lines on a test. Who cares, really? It's the
Yeah.
baby in your arms down the line. That's what we're going for. That is the dream, that's the hope, that's what we want, and, that's what we're trying to work toward for you here too, here on the Food Freedom Fertility podcast, gals. That's why we're putting all this together is for you. So I hope this resonated with you. And I think you know who you are if it
If
did.
it did, yeah.
Because the thing is, your intuition is powerful. And if you heard us talking about, how you've been isolating yourself and scrolling your phone and calling that stress relief, and what you really need to do is get your friends together to play cards, that's you. Working the 60 hours a week, being abused at CVS, we know that that's you. And we know that you need a change. And I just hope that this gives you some confirmation of what's probably already living in your intuition.
Mhm.
And we're not saying the next steps for you are going to be really easy, but that they will be worth it. If even for, I mean, this is a moment that I had when I was trying to conceive. And a part of all of this is like, even if I never have a baby at the end of my life, like I truly believe God called me to this. This is what I'm doing. I'm fulfilling my purpose in seeking this. Maybe for me, it's just in the seeking. Maybe it's never in the finding. I don't know. I'd be sad if that wasn't the case, but I would rather do it, do it all, and go all the way with whatever it is I knew I needed to do, and look at myself in the mirror at the end of it and say, "You did it. Look my Lord in his
Mhm.
face." And he says, "Well done, good and faithful servant." That's what I'm looking for. And if that means I'm, staying in my little tiny studio apartment with no money and everything else because my priorities were just so different than what the world told me they needed to be, that might be your life too. I'm not guaranteeing that any of this is going to result in you holding your baby by this time next year, but I'm saying that even if you aren't going to look back and wonder, what if I would have?
Well, I think that's a good put a bow on it.
Yeah, let's do a yeah, girl. Hey, podcast listener, we are taking a break from this episode to talk about our sponsor for this season, and that is, of course, Tempdrop. It has been no secret on this podcast for many years that Caitlin and I love Tempdrop, specifically because it measures your basal body temperature while you are still sleeping. This is so key to anybody who is, one, like me, and forgets to take their temperature in the morning, and two, who wakes up at inconsistent times. When you are manually using a basal body temperature thermometer, like one that you'd find at the drugstore or buy online, you have to take your temperature at the exact same time every morning. This is great if you have a really predictable schedule and you always know what you're up to. You wake up at the same time every day without fail. This is not great for those of us who maybe are trying for a second or a third baby and are already waking up in the night with our existing children. And so, when exactly was our temperature the lowest and which one are we counting as our wake up? This is also not great if you are a shift worker or if your schedule shifts even slightly. I'm talking about a 15-minute difference in when you wake up is going to skew your basal body temperature. That is why we love the temp drop on this podcast. It is such an easy and simple way to automate your fertility awareness method, regardless of your unique journey. It is great for if you have a irregular cycle, like if you have PCOS or you're recovering from hypothalamic amenorrhea and you want to know when and if you're ovulating at all and you don't have like a super consistent chart to start with. And it is great for anybody who just wants one less thing to think about. TempDrop does not rely on your memory. It relies on science-backed data that is always improving and always growing and is truly the highest quality. TempDrop is committed to supporting individuals with connecting with their bodies. They support to make things more accessible rather than replacing existing methods. TempDrop is here to make what you're already doing easier. So if you want to try out Temp Drop and sort of automate your fertility awareness temperature taking, use code FFF15 at checkout at tempdrop.com.
Okay, my yeah girl is twofold. One, that since we're doing this evening podcast recording, I had to pull out a food photography light I bought to actually have enough light for YouTube to see us when we put that part of this out. And I've been like not putting this light up for a really long time because I've had a hard time getting a piece of it together, and I was like, I am determined, and I got it to work. So that's my first yeah girl. If you're on YouTube,
Yeah,
you're
see,
welcome. You
if
can see
anybody
us.
can do it, it's Caitlin.
Figured it out. There was a will for it today. Other points I was just like,
Doesn't
doesn't
work.
matter.
Crack the
Yeah.
window. It'll be fine.
Wait for the sun to shine. We don't need light. But the other thing was that I've been like, okay, so Soph and I were just together. We got our colors done. If you've been following us on Instagram, you know this. But I've actually been going through my closet and I have so many things in my colors. They're just never the things I go to reach. And so I've been every day this week, I'm pulling something else out that's like in my color palette. And what do you know? Everyone's complimenting me, like, oh, and I'm like, man, this color thing actually works. Oh,
Isn't that something? Well, yeah, girl. Yeah, girl, for two things
oh yeah.
and for actually using your colors. Okay. My yeah, girl. I actually had a really great day today.
Hmm.
I spent my
You
morning
needed
sort
one.
of rage cleaning. It was just a day of just me alone with my kids the whole day, which
It's been
is
like a couple
wonderful. And
weeks.
it's been rare. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
had family in town. I've had, husband around at times, but he's gone and out of town, not like gone from my life, but he's out of town and he's gone working, affording me the
Sorry.
life that I so enjoy. And I got to just spend the morning with my kids, and it was so nice. We just did, like, we just cleaned so much cleaning, and it felt so good to get it done because there's been specific. I had some house guests, and there's been specific parts of my house I've been like avoiding since they left, and now I can use them again because they're clean.
Oh, that's nice.
And that is really nice. And so it was just a yeah, girl, sort of like homemaker day for me.
Mm-hmm. I love
Felt
that.
good to do.
And just be with your girls and get things in order.
I know. And now I'm like, oh, I only have so much time before bedtime with them. What are we going to do? And I'm like, I'm the mom. Bedtime is when I say. They can't tell time. Dude, because I'm like, oh, I wish I could like snuggle up with them and like watch a movie tonight. Well, guess what? You can. You can do whatever you want. You're the mom.
There
Like, go
can
for
be
it.
miracles.
Dude, it's not on Netflix
I
anymore. They
know,
took it
it's the
off.
worst. Okay, this should have been my yeah girl.
Okay, you get a
I'm
third.
I'm learning it on the piano. I only have one hand, but I pretty much have it, but only when I'm watching it, like, the notes fall on YouTube.
I didn't even know you had a piano.
I got a piano off of Facebook Marketplace for free. It's a baby grand. It's beautiful. It is actually electric, which was not my first choice, but then now it's actually the greatest gift because as somebody wants to play for an hour, just playing for an hour, my beautiful middle child learning things, and she's actually really good. But at some points, I'm like, put some headphones on, girl. But it sounds like a grand piano. It looks like it. It's like a piece of furniture. I got it for free.
This
It's
is
like,
just 100 yeah girls in this one sentence.
I know. It's a $20,000 piano I got for free. I did pay
Lord,
professional movers to
what?
get it here. I know. But anyway, then this same middle child who is the same one that likes that movie and has been asking to watch it every day forever, and then it left Netflix, she got out of bed on the wrong side of the bed today. And she just stayed there all day, mainly just at me. And I was playing it this afternoon because I play it every day. I sit down and try and play it a little bit more. And she looked at me and she was like, I don't even like this song anymore. It's just stuck in my head all the time now that you're playing it. She was just like, gonna be
Jeez.
sour at me. And I was like, it's okay, Bonnie. You're gonna love it someday, because the reason why I'm learning it is so that I can teach you. She's still mad at me, but anyway, yeah, okay, yeah, girl. There, go snuggle your babies. I made it
I
all
haven't
about
even had
me.
my dinner yet. I need to eat my dinner, snuggle my babies, live my life.
Okay,
Okay.
well,
Yeah, girl.
yeah,
Logging
girl.
off.
Another episode. Like it, love it, follow it, subscribe, leave a review. I did just meet with a client who's like, I love you guys so much. I was like, have you left a review? She's like, I only listen on Spotify. So I said, next time you're at work, ask one of your homegirls who has an iPhone if you can just leave a review on her Apple podcast. So if you're listening to this, you're like, I only
Wow.
listen on Spotify, steal one of your friends' phones and leave a
Yeah, or
rating.
Spotify, start letting people rate. Why not?
Yeah,
What do you have to lose?
totally.
Go for it. All it's going to
Yes.
do is help you know what people like. Okay. All right, the end. See you next time.